On active le micro.
Good morning, dear listeners and viewers. Thank you for joining us today on FOASPS TV. We are going to have a short break. Once back, we are going to announce the topic of our discussion and the guests that we have in our house. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back, dear listeners and viewers. The topic of our discussion today is all about FOASPS, and the one and only that is going to entertain us on this very topic is Mr. Kofi Kumoji. Mr. Kofi Kumoji, thank you for being here today.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so happy to be here. It's a privilege, and I'm sure we are going to have a very wonderful discussion.
Yeah, indeed, we are going to have a very wonderful discussion. So, we always hear about FOASPS, and I would like to know, what is it all about, FOASPS?
Okay, FOASPS in French is Fédération Ouest Africaine du Secteur Privé de la Santé. For the English-speaking people, we will say West African Private Healthcare Federation. But we agree, even with the English-speaking people, that we continue to say FOASPS, because spelling the initials in English become a bit challenging. So we agree to always say FOASPS, even when we are speaking English. Thank you.
Wow. So FOASPS, West African Private Healthcare Federation.
Yes.
So it means that behind FOASPS there is a story that must be known by the world. Would you mind sharing with us the story behind FOASPS?
Okay. Some years back, let me say just after the independence in our countries in Africa, only the public sector was providing healthcare services. You will recall that ministries are called Ministry of Public Health. Okay, so it means something. But as we move from that period of time till now, we realize that private actors become more active. Medical doctors, pharmacists, midwives, etc., started creating their own clinic, their private hospitals, etc., etc. So as of today, there is a kind of balance between the public actors and the private actors as well. So that was the situation. But in the meantime, you will realize that our public policies, our health policies in our countries, our health strategies in our countries are mainly designed by the public sector. They use the data coming from the public sector, which means that all the strategic plans they are building are wrong because they are not based on the reality on the ground. So therefore, it was important to see what is going on in the private sector as well. When we are talking about the history of FOASPS, we will also recall the fact that in the years 2014, a USAID project that was called SHOPS, Strengthening Health Outcome of the Private Sector. That project put in place or ordered a survey to see what is the real contribution of the private sector in the delivery of health, especially family planning and women and children health. The result of that survey reveals that almost 50 to 60% of the services in the health sector are provided by the private sector. In a country like Togo, pharmacies, they are more than 90%. You can imagine that. In the meantime, the recommendation of this survey said that though they are important in the system, the private sector is not organized. Therefore, they cannot sit in front of the public sector and discuss and to impact the health strategies and health policies. So if you want the situation to improve, there will be a need for the private sector to get organized, to have a say. So based on that survey and the recommendation, there has been a conference in Accra that was organized by shops. And after that conference in Accra, there was another event that was the trip, the study trip to Kenya and to Kigali, to Rwanda, where they took various champions, they called them champions of the private sector in West Africa. They took them there in Eastern Africa to see what are their experiences, what are they doing better, and how they can learn from them. So at the end of this trip, they decided and they signed a declaration that is called Kigali Declaration, that when they come back to their various countries, they will make sure that they create country federations. So that process started, let me say, in 2014 till 2015, where most of our countries in West Africa create their country federation, their country alliances, their country platforms for the private health sector. And in July 2016, there's been a General Assembly that created the FOASPS, the Fédération West Africaine du Secteur Privé de la Santé. So basically, this is our story.
Very interesting story. So it means that this federation, it has membership, right? Mm-hmm. And who are the members of FOASPS?
Okay, good question. You realize that because we are an umbrella organization, a regional organization, our members are country federation or country platforms or country alliances. So the names change from one country to the other, but at the end of the day, the content is the same. Okay? So when we want to talk about the actors, the members, we in FOASPS, we talk about the country federations. But the country federation talk about people who are individuals or companies, firms that are working in the health sector and are from the private end of the system. So you name the medical doctors, the pharmacists, the midwives, the opticians, the dentists, even sometimes insurances, because insurance that are giving health insurance are also from the private sector of health. Okay, and then of course I will end with the traditional healers and so on.
It is very wonderful to know that even the traditional therapists are also part of this great federation. It means that you are giving, or FOASPS is giving the opportunity to every person that is in the health sector to be part of this community. And one cannot regulate this market if everyone that is in the health sector is not involved in it. So it is a very brilliant initiative. So can you briefly talk to us about the mission and the vision of FOASPS?
Okay. Our vision, FOASPS vision, is that it is very much important to have in our countries universal health coverage, so that our population, no matter what is their situation, can enjoy the privilege of being in good health, which is one of the most important or the first human rights per se. To reach there, it is important that we have in place the public-private dialogue, so that we interact, the private interact with the public sector and find the right way, the best way to move from where we are now to that universal health coverage. So that is the vision. Everything we do is based on that two important component: dialogue between public and private sectors, and then universal health coverage. That is where our attention is going. Now, our mission in that is to be the common voice for the actors of the private sector of health in our countries, as well as at the regional federation, so that we can strengthen our capacity to negotiate, to advocate, to sensitize our counterpart in the right direction. So that sensitization goes to government and technical and financial partners, etc., as well as to the general public. Okay.
Thank you very much for that information. So, if I understand very well, public and private dialogue is one key component that you want to install. And the second one is the universal health coverage. So it means that for those two goals to be achieved, it means that you need to have some stakeholders, some great actors that should be behind. I would like to know, who are those main stakeholders that are powering the FOASPS?
Okay. Your question is a large question because when I take stakeholders from the perspective of internal stakeholders of FOASPS, then I will talk about the organs, the legal framework that we have, and who are the people or who are the institutions that are leading the process. First, we are going to talk about the General Assembly. Of course, in any association like this, General Assembly is important and is the first organ. Then we have the Executive Board. The Executive Board is the, let me say, the execution body of the General Assembly decisions. At the General Assembly, we have 2 representatives per country federation, okay? And they meet on a yearly basis. But between 2 General Assemblies, there are things that are going on. And the Executive Board is in charge of that. Now, the Executive Board is supported by the Permanent Secretariat, which is a team of people who are paid to do the job on a daily basis, okay? So personally, I am the Permanent Secretary, meaning that I'm leading that execution team that is working on a daily basis. And then, of course, we have the auditors of account. That is also an important organ. So those are our stakeholders. Then we have a lot of partners that I also consider stakeholders, and maybe if you have time, we can also disclose that.
Such a great umbrella. Thank you very much. We cannot say enough. Thank you for you being here on this TV set. We would love to have more information, but due to time constraints, I would like you to give us your final word.
Okay, my final word will be a sign of gratitude to FOASPS Television, FOASPS TV, for giving us the opportunity to air what we are, what we want to do, what we are doing, etc. And I want to thank also your technical team for the great work that they are doing. We've been witnessing the setting of the studio where we are discussing right now, and I can imagine, I can see the work that is done. And for the first time, I saw how the people in the back scene are doing. We never see them, so I really want to thank them for the work they are doing, and assure you that anytime we are ready to come again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kumoji. It's been
my
a
pleasure.
pleasure to have you here on this TV set. Dear
Thank you too.
listeners and viewers, here comes the end of this show. All you need to know about FOASPS. And thank you for joining us once again on FOASPS TV.